are in that mediation team, including my neighbor here, Honorable GK, Honorable Naisula Lesuta. We also had Honorable Mishi, Sam, the women rep for Mombasa, and others who are not here now. Honorable Speaker, we also want to thank the Senate team led by Senator Roper for the understanding at the negotiation and agreeing on the mediated figure of 410 billion. Honorable Speaker, this is money that is going to the 47 counties. And once this money has gone to the counties, the law states that the money that has already been appropriated to the counties, it cannot be reduced, despite the fact that maybe the collections might not be, by a KRA, might not reach the target. And that means the national government will bear responsibility. So, putting that into consideration, we want to urge the counties that once you've gotten this money, let's use the money judiciously. Let's the money go into the projects for which they are meant to. Because, Honorable Speaker, whenever you visit counties, some counties like I think Elgeyo Marakwet, Taita Taveta, they've not been able to realize serious development because they are saying with this current formula, they are not able to do any development. But after this mediation, with the new formula now from the CRA and approved by the Senate and which has been forwarded to this House, what it means is that all the 12 counties which were not able to realize meaningful development will now be able to at least do some development. And that, I think, is a move forward, because whenever you visit counties, what you are only able to see in most cases is what CDF has done. You will be able to see schools that have been built by CDF. You will be able to see administrative units, assistant chiefs, SEC, DCC's offices, which have been put, police stations, DCI offices, and all that. But you are not able to see something tangible from the county governments. But we also want to urge the Senate to also provide proper oversight to the counties, because more often, I think there is some bit of laxity in terms of the oversight. But yesterday, when I saw the proceedings in the Senate by Senator Sifuna on oversight to my county of Trans Nzoia, I think it made me happy, because the Senator Kachwang, not the TJ, the other Kachwang, who is the chair of the PAC in the Senate, I think he put my governor into his toes. And I hope that my governor, Natembeya, will be able to appropriately respond to those questions. And if he can't, then the Wananchi will be there to deal with him, including myself. So this money that is going to counties must be used for the county functions. Honorable Speaker, when you look at even the budget of the national government, there is 13 billion for primary health care, which is money that is appropriated from the national government. But surprisingly, you go to the counties, many of the other health facilities, level 2, level 3, level 4, are not providing the necessary services. We've also recapitalized KEMSA to a tune of 1.5 billion, which means KEMSA should be able to now supply enough medicines to all our health facilities. And therefore, it calls upon the counties to make sure that the health facilities are properly equipped with health products and technologies, and they are able to make sure that Mwananchi visits facility and gets the services. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the number of the follow functions, the major is health, agriculture, and I think, and water. But which county government should be able to make sure that this money that is being sent to the counties at least are able to provide the minimum services that wananchi are able to reap from the devolution. Because when our elders met in Bomas and came up with this issue of devolution, they meant services going closer to wananchi. But what has happened? We've devolved corruption. Because you go to the counties and you look at the level of opulence exhibited by the county government, governors, even some governors going with seats to meetings. I think that's not what we wanted. And funerals, that is not what we wanted. Governors hiring coons to move around with coons in their meetings, that is not what we wanted. So, Honorable Speaker, I think I want to applaud the National Assembly Committee that mediated this together with the Senate, and hope that the House will be able to support so that we can have resources being appropriated to the counties, and we have each county at least having meaningful development. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Article 113(2) of the Constitution and Standing Order 153, this House adopts the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 18th June 2025, and approves the mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025. Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill. Honorable Speaker, 415 billion is not the only money going to counties, because that's just the shareable revenue that counties are getting. There is additional county allocations, a further 55 billion shillings. So when we speak about the money going to our counties this coming financial year, should be that 415 plus the 55, which is a whooping 470 billion shillings. 5 billion shillings above the 465 that our good senators had sought in the Council of Governors. And over and above that, we have close to another 10 billion shillings, about 9.6 billion, through the Equalization Fund that is going again to counties. Honorable Speaker, last evening I listened to the contribution by Honorable Mwalimu Moroto. And, you know, he usually gets very agitated in the evening, I think on account of age.
The order, Majority Leader. There is no scientific evidence.
You know, Mwalimu Moroto, Mr. Speaker, yes, there is no scientific explanation, but over the years that I have known him, he usually will come in the evening very agitated. Yes. I have never figured out for what reason. But his agitation notwithstanding, Honorable Speaker, he was very passionate about Equalization Fund money and pleading that this money should have been implemented through constituencies, whether through a model like NGCDF or whichever other model, because most of that money, and I could identify with what Honorable Moroto was saying, because I have been to his county, and they are lagging behind like many other counties. And this fund was meant to uplift those counties that were lagging behind others. But unfortunately, with devolution, the more money that goes to a county, I think the more corruption there is in that county, and the more backward that county continues to be. I don't know why, Honorable Speaker. Because if you look at the counties that benefit with the highest amounts, corruption is also very rampant, and I don't want to name any particular county, Honorable Speaker. And also, Honorable Speaker, the status in which those counties were at the advent of devolution, most of them are still in the same state. So you have to ask yourself, where is all this money going to, Honorable Speaker? When I listened to the Vice Chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee speak and allude to some counties, like his county in Trans Nzoia, I couldn't help but imagine these are the same governors who, when they are accused of corruption and EACC summons them to appear before them or they are arrested. They mobilize goons to even ban EACC and police cars on account of being asked to be accountable of the money. I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, because these accounting officers in county governments, our governors, must be accountable of this money that is being appropriated to counties, Honorable Speaker. It is true, Honorable Speaker, that many Kenyans are still suffering without medication in their county hospitals. At a time, hundreds of billions are being devolved every year to our county governments, Honorable Speaker. I know we just come from a very painful journey on RMLF. Honorable Speaker, walk to any county in this country. MCAs say it openly that this RMLF money is the only money we would get to eat. Therefore, when we say here that when governors get RMLF money, Honorable Speaker, and I know we are about to do legislation around the issues that the court made a decision on, we must be emphatic and give conditions that will ensure RMLF money goes specifically to doing roads and not just doing maram roads. They must tarmac roads. Yes. We must conditionalize that money to ensure that, because there is no county in this country without a shopping center, without some sort of urban population, that at least this money goes to tarmac roads in those urban centers, or if they are doing in rural roads, roads already identified in work plans by the Kenya Roads Board, so that we stem the abuse of all these monies that are going to the counties. Because we can't give 415 billion in shareable revenue. It is all stolen. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the Comptroller of Budgets reports, you'll be shocked. The percentage of money going to development from this shareable revenue. And why, Honorable Speaker? Because if I am elected as a governor today, I will find ward administrators, sub-county administrators, I don't know, village liaison officers, who are on permanent and pensionable terms employed by your predecessor. Then a new governor comes into office, they recruit their own kin and their own friends and campaigners into the same permanent and pensionable jobs. Then they start crying all over, oh, we have no money for development. You have no money for development because you have failed in governance. You don't have to employ every other person who campaigned for you. Grow the economies in the counties, and your supporters and those who campaign for you will be able to get jobs when economies in your counties are growing, when roads are functional, when hospitals are functional. Those economies will thrive, and all your supporters and your citizens in your counties will have job opportunities that will come their way. Therefore, with those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, allow me to support with that caution, Honorable Speaker, that when we come to do the law, and I hope the chair of the Roads Committee is listening, if he's still here, the Honorable GK is here, that we must conditionalize that money for RMLF. Just like when we do the additional county allocations, that money comes with conditions, even this one for RMLF must come with. And the cardinal condition on shareable revenue must be accountability and transparency in how this money is utilized at the county level. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to support.
Yes, Farah, I'll give you just the question.
Speaker, while I also want to put my voice in supporting this mediated version of the Revenue Division of the Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025, I also want to add my voice into the rampant corruption that is so prevalent in our country right now. You wonder what is happening to the law and order in the country here. We have equalization fund, which was supposed to be used to help the counties that were left behind from the colonial days, who were marginalized systematically. And that equalization fund right now, the county governments want to lay their hands on that. And before we could even go far In one constituency, the governor has the audacity to call the councillor, the MCAs, and tell them, you people have been disturbing me, you want to put a motion of impeachment on me, you can take that one for your ward. 23 million, 20 million, 15, literally parceling it out and telling them that is where you're going to make money. The idea is that these MCAs would go there. I don't know if they're going to accept it. A few of them have called me and they were disgusted by it. And just create some things like a small pans out there out of nowhere without proper bill of quantities there, and they take the money. Whereas I had indicated myself before that we need that money to put in an infrastructure, help the entire rural area of my constituency get the national grid. And by the way, REREC has got the materials. All they need to do is for the labor itself. That place would have lit up the entire constituency. But when you put that in the hands of governors, then what happens? Only labor and transport is what was supposed, that money, 200 million can lit up my entire constituency, help with labor and transport, and that's it. Because the materials are there with REREC. But when you allow the county, I don't know why even the executive is scared of the county governments. Why are they allowed to do the kind of corruption they're doing, which is rampant, which is unbridled? Unbridled, literally. It's a runaway, amok, berserk. I think that's where, somebody told me the other day, old age and death comes through the legs. When you get older, you begin losing the strength of your own feet themselves, and basically the muscles don't work. Why is this country's atrophy starting from the county governments and from governors that are crooked, that have treated the entire resources as personal property? And we have an executive here. And this message goes straight to the executive and all the agencies that are supposed to work with that, who are supposed to make sure that they do the needful in the maintenance of law and order and protect the national resources for the benefits of Kenyans. For the benefits of Kenyans. Because when these things are happening, and they're happening in the manner in which they're happening, with almost zero public participation, and people are making money out of that, and we allow it to happen. We allow hundreds of billions of Kenya shillings to get wasted. And for governors to have their vehicles, take choppers, take planes, and everything else, and literally turn this into a private property. Mr. Speaker, I think we have a problem in this country, and this house being a legislative house, a lawmaking house, that has that express ability to do that, and the constitutional mandate to do that, we better begin dealing with these things very well and saying that we're not going to pass any of these appropriations before certain things are put in place. You remember when we were trying to negotiate the RMLF before the courts pronounced themselves into that, because the governors were the ones who were pushing for these things, and they're also coming for the CDF. And the whole idea of coming for all those things is not to put these things in the hands of an entity, which can, another authority for the benefits of the people. They just want to steal it. They're doing that with the donor money also. Mr. Speaker, I want to put my voice on this, but at the same time say that we have a problem in the country. We're talking about corruption in the country. And the same corrupt guys are the ones who seem to have the ear and the support of the local people out there. Because Parliament has failed to do its work, National Assembly has failed to do its work, the executive has failed to do its work, the government, the appropriate authorities on the maintenance of law and order to protect the national resources are not doing their work, we have a problem. We have a problem of resources in the country. We have a problem of poverty, rampant poverty. The amount of money that goes out there for devolution should be able to change the lives of the people out there. Change the lives of the people. The students, absolutely, absolutely. And if the Senate is going to transform itself into a body whenever an impeachment is brought for them, then governors are going around dishing money. And governors go out there and try and influence the MCAs in their own counties by sending in elders and everybody there and saying our government is now coming down. I mean, these things are bad. The common man has got to be educated. There has to be sufficient civic education to tell them that every coin has got to be accounted for. At the national level, at the county level, at all levels, including ourselves at our own CDF levels. We are not managing the CDF is managed by a board, but it's got to be, everything has got to become accountable, Mr. Speaker. We have a nation, we have resources, and the resources is not getting down to the people. The people are poor. The Kenyans are suffering. Students are suffering everywhere because the little we have for what we call bursary is not sufficient, and the county governments are not putting money into that. They're putting money into building walls and building what we call white elephant projects. And they are the contractors themselves. The governors are the contractors themselves. And consultancies. And God knows what. Feds and dramas and everything else. So, Mr. Speaker, this House has got to rise up to the occasion. Members of Parliament must take the responsibility of protecting the national resources from everybody who's going to misuse them. If we don't, then we become complicit in that. We become part of the corruption. We become part of the rot. And we can see the kind of problems that are going on in the country. The country is bleeding. There's no question about that. Let us rise up as legislators ourselves, use the appropriate, what we call, instruments through the committees and everything. Make sure that we change the laws when there's need to change the laws and stop thugs from stealing national resources. Because we are the lawmaking body. We have the instrument to put a bridle on these things, and we are not doing that. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, and with the bleeding, what do you call, nation is right now because of the misuse of our resources and the rampant corruption, runaway corruption, and I rest my case, but I'm pleading with my colleagues here. Let us rise up to the occasion to protect Kenyans and protect the minimum resources that we have so that they're put to a good use. There's no medicine in the hospitals. There's nothing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, before I give the next member, allow me to acknowledge Kitengela East Adventist School, Kajiado East, Kajiado, Nunguni Junior School from Kaiti in Makueni, Moi Girls High School, Ainapkoi, Uasin Gishu, Don Bosco Manyata from Embu, and Molo Academy from Molo, Nakuru County. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Now, Benja, you wanted to welcome school. I'll give you half a minute because you are interrupting ongoing debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me first and foremost welcome all the students from 4-year schools in the Republic, Mr. Speaker. Let me tell them welcome to Parliament. I wish them a very nice tour in Parliament and everywhere else they are going, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I welcome in particular Moi Girls Eldred, because, Mr. Speaker, amongst them, Mr. Speaker, is my daughter. And I'm told the Deputy Speaker also was a student there. So let me welcome all of them to Parliament. I wish them a nice tour. And I want to inform them, Mr. Speaker, that Parliament is created under Article 94 and given functions under Article 95. I wish them that they become great women and great men in future, Mr. Speaker. Some of them will be speaker, one of them will be a speaker like you. Some of them will be members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, and other great people in the Republic, Mr. Speaker. So welcome.
Thank you. Honorable members, this motion is a product of a bill you debated extensively and rejected the amendments to the bill by the Senate. And we took it to mediation. Looking at the Hansard, we're just saying what we said when we were rejecting the bill. Isn't that so? So let's have a consensus that I give 3-3, and then we put the question. Because you're just saying what you already said. It's on record. Yes, Wangare? I give 3-3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I think if we just keep it short, we can be able to manage very fast. And first of all is to thank the Mediation Committee for the work well done. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, is to note, just as has been said, that CDF only gets about 50 billion versus 415 billion, which is not visible. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, what the county government should do are three simple things. Ensure that the dispensaries and the health centers have a doctor or a clinical officer and have medicine, Mr. Speaker. Because even as we legislate for SHA to work, it will not work if the primary health care facilities are not working. The other issue, Mr. Speaker, even in schools, they only deal with village polytechnics and ECDs. The others is done by NGCDF. So, Mr. Speaker, some of these small things that should be seen are not being seen. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, something I have observed with the county government, there is a lot of donor money going to the counties and through the counties. World Bank money. If you look at the housing programs, Mr. Speaker, the county governments are taking the lead as the ones doing it. Yes, the money is appropriated in this house. If you look at the markets, like the markets in my constituency, I have 4 markets. All of them are being done by the national government, but the county government will own them as their own. So they are using these projects to shine or try to show they are working, yet the appropriated money from this division of revenue is not being seen, Mr. Speaker. The other problem we have in this whole arrangement of county governments, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of the Senate. 2 things. There is an obsession of the senators wanting to just become governors. So they have actually punctured their oversight in terms of focus, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, this obsession of calling ministers and CSAs to the Senate, Mr. Speaker, we must be able to deal with it once and for all, because they have then lost the ability and the mandate to call to oversight governors. Because if you look at the CS, the former member here, Mbadi, has gone to the Senate 5 times. To do what, Mr. Speaker? Appropriation and money matters are in this house. So, Mr. Speaker, this problem we must deal through our standing orders. Let us be clear that the ministers and the CSs appear before the National Assembly, because even when there is a discipline issue, it is this National Assembly which can deal with it. Even a censure motion, Mr. Speaker, the Senate cannot do it. But then, Mr. Speaker, they have lost all the time to call the governors to order because they are too busy looking at the CSs and what they can do with the CSs. So, Mr. Speaker, those 2 issues have to be dealt within this House. Otherwise, we will keep going round, and the issue of oversight from the Senate will still be lost. As I support, I would like to put that on record, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Elachi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to really thank the mediation team and to appreciate that indeed, as everyone has said, that this House must get back its power. That one thing even the Supreme Court has clearly stipulated, that this is the House that deals with the monies of this country and are able to ensure you allocate money that will go to be used in the right way. And Mr. Speaker, when you look at the county governments, first of all, you ask yourself, and I want to thank Baba, because he did, and he said, we give the county governments 450. We have gone 70 plus equalization fund. For the first time, CS body will be able to ensure we are getting the equalization fund. But then now the question comes to, how are we going to use these resources? Yet you find a governor, Mr. Speaker, who has decided you can have as many advisors as you would wish, that this money now will become foreign money trips, which is very unfortunate. That is why we are finding ourselves with challenges, that we are finding the growth of the country is below level. Why? The money we have sent to build growth, to build the markets that are coming in, to build the micro entrepreneurs, the small, medium, is gone, and the governor will decide, Mr. Speaker, what he wants to pay, what he doesn't want to pay. Today, look at our Kenyans who are suffering with diabetes. That today in this country, insulin injection is 750 per day for a patient who is diabetic. And I want to call to the governors. We need to reduce the price. Our people are dying. Health is in your hands. Stop looking for bursary. Look to manage the people, help the people, so that we have lives in our country. How I wish they can concentrate on health 100%. And we concentrate on education 100%. We will have changed our country to a better country. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I, Martha Wangare, Honorable Esuda, all of us were in the first Senate. Yes, I have said Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
And he was the lead. He taught us. He was our scholar. At that time, we thought we are going to have a Senate that will think through county governments. We never used to summon CSS. That was not our business. Once in a while, we'll summon when we know this is a county function, and now it's going to the dogs. But today, the Senate we have is a National Assembly bill.
In fact, for 5 years, we invited ministers not more than 5 times.
Yes. And we were there and we did the best to bring the foundation. But this Senate has decided they know how to speak good English than any other person. But they forgot when they went to represent us for county governments. It was meant for Mwanainchi who doesn't want to understand English, but understand service. But if you tell the Senate to go back home and speak something different and ask him what is happening just on his doorstep, whether that family has gotten a patient who is sick, he has no idea. He has no, in his own county, he has not done even monitoring and evaluation to understand how many people are sick of the chronic diseases we have. Yet that is the key function that went devolved 98%. So as I finalize, Mr. Speaker, this thing of roads, as in Nairobi, first of all, you cannot bring us Maram. So while you bring this, you should know, as we tarmac, and all counties must start tarmacking, monies that come from national government must be used to tarmac roads, not to make some, I don't know what road, no. We must be serious about this, and we must stop this misuse. And I am pleading with counties, awaken yourselves. 15 years, you are supposed now to be showing us which counties are stronger than others and which are able to now sustain themselves without the national government. I beg to support, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
GK.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the mediated bill. Honorable Speaker, I was one of the mediators, and we indeed supported the 415 billion because we firmly believe in decentralization, in the principle of decentralization of resources. Honorable Speaker, the county governments that we have today, it is my opinion that we need to relook into this system of devolution. We need to reform it because, Honorable Speaker, we formed this devolution because we want to, or we wanted to achieve a flourishing society, what is called in Greek eudaimonia. And Honorable Speaker, the achievement of a flourishing society comes when we focus on human development index of our country. That is education, health, and the standards of living for our people. But Honorable Speaker, this is not what is happening. This is not what is happening in our counties. We are seeing a lot of wastage of resources. We are seeing a lot of misuse of opportunities where our people should be benefiting. We are not seeing that happening, Honorable Speaker. And for that reason, Honorable Speaker, I want to support my colleagues in calling upon our governors to ensure that the resources we appropriated or we appropriate here are used for the right reason. Honorable Speaker, I support, but I want to caution our friends, our governors, to do what is right and ensure that our people are well taken care of in terms of addressing the needs of our society. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Tienda Molo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support this mediated version of the bill, and I congratulate the team. Mr. Speaker, those of us who are lawyers know that even in law, we are moving from confrontation, from litigation to mediation. So mediation is a good thing. Here, we have this mediated version because we are obligated by the Constitution. But we should encourage ourselves as a House, the Senate, the Council of Governors, that instead of litigating all the time, we should endeavor to mediate what we perceive to be our differences. As a National Assembly, we have been greatly restrained in litigation. In fact, of about 36 cases that I've counted, I think virtually all of them...
We are defendants.
Yes, we are defendants. Yes. They have been initiated either by the Senate or the Council of Governors. So I urge the Senate and the Council of Governors to take that cue, that instead of running to the court, we should try and mediate our issues. In fact, it looks very untidy to a Kenyan that the Constitution says there is the Parliament of Kenya. And then you have the Parliament of Kenya suing the Parliament of Kenya. It's actually an oxymoron. And it is something really to be discouraged. And in it, we must understand that even though the Constitution creates institutions that are independent, they are also interdependent. And that independent must not be taken to its illogical conclusion. We need not be antagonistic all the time. We can actually sit and discuss and agree. Because in fact, if we were to take the hard stance all the time, this House would actually match the victor. But I think this House has purposefully taken a step back for the betterment of the nation. Mr. Speaker, it is a good thing that we were able and we are navigating even the issue of the road maintenance levy. And as we directed yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we'll be having a Kamukunji on it on Tuesday. And as directed by the court, we'll be considering the Kenya Roads Act, Section 6 and 47. I believe that when we look at it, there are two things we are required to look at, and we ought to look at. One is the question of percentages, because the court cannot determine for us how much to allocate. But the court can only encourage that do not exclude. And we will be talking percentages. But I think that we should go beyond percentages and we should talk of purpose. If we appropriate a certain percentage of the roads maintenance levy fund to the counties, it is for what purpose? It cannot be for purposes of constructing the footpath next to my home. I think it is now time to consider, because I think we're all suffering. While we can usually engage with KERA to try and do some maram roads here and there, all tarmac roads, the few that may have been done, are all being now wiped out. So we should now restrict anything that is allocated to the counties to the low volume tarmac in the urban areas within our constituencies. That way we can see what is being done. And that is very important, Mr. Speaker, because, for example, take two examples that are totally devolved. Health. Many of the counties would rush to construct health facilities because that's easy politically, but then not put any drugs because that's expensive and it is not visible. Many of the counties would rush to put a sports facility because that's visible, but not invest in the sports equipment or in the sports tournament. The idea of sports was removed from CDF and none of us is now involved. And you'll realize that in the whole country now, you do not find sports tournaments. You know? So development of top sports talents then just dies like that. I'd like to finish, Mr. Speaker, by saying, in the context of all this is the question of NGCDF. And as Mr. Speaker directed, next week we are discussing this matter, especially the constitutional amendment, and then we go on recess. I would like to urge members at this point to plan for next week so that you are pleased here. It would be a very unfortunate situation if we get to next week when we are supposed to read 2/3 and then we hear some members are in their constituencies, some members are abroad, some members are in their offices, some members are in all sorts of other businesses that usually engage members of parliament, but this is much more fundamental. I support Mr. Speaker.
Osoro, the last one on this side.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support the mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill, Honorable Speaker. And I congratulate the teams, both the Senate team and the National Assembly, for coming up with an amicable solution, because in my engagement with the honorable members, both from both sides, I realized there was push and pull, and it really took a lot of effort and utmost wisdom and maturity to even get to that level of 415. Because initially they had even stuck at 425 without deviating, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, even as we get to this point every time, because it's now becoming a norm, that year in, year out, there is an the county governments are allocated some substantial amount of money for development. And of course, at the end of it all, we of course get to this level of engagement and everything between these two houses. With the way the Senate defends, Honorable Speaker, with the way the allocation or the division of revenue, and even the way they push for higher allocation to the counties, I wish the same vigor was used. Extremely unfortunate, and we really must remind them every time that over 10 years post devolution, Honorable Speaker, we really haven't reached to the level where the drafters of the Constitution envisioned us to reach, Honorable Speaker. And you'll always see, members of Parliament are still being approached to do and work for the people on the issues, Honorable Speaker, that are supposed to be handled by the county government. Because civic education is done to the members of the public to get to know what members of the National Assembly are supposed to do under Article 95 and 96. And sometimes, Honorable Speaker, we are approached by people whenever we visit our constituencies, asked about water, asked about the hospital.